I've always been the kind of person where I'm gonna do as many things as I can. And it really taught me from the get-go how to manage my time and how to look at the things that are most important, like school and sports and family and things like that, and be able to just kind of build my life around that. I've been an athlete all my life. Ever since I could walk, I was kicking a soccer ball and doing gymnastics, and to be able to be at a point now where I can't do any of that, it's scary. I was actually a competitive gymnast from the time I could walk up to actually my diagnosis with EDS. I was playing soccer since like little kinder kicks. I picked up lacrosse when I actually moved to Northern Maryland. I actually had a back injury where I had fallen off the uneven bars. I had a whole bunch of doctors who would say, you know, we don't know what's wrong with you. It's hard to hear from doctors when they're supposed to be the ones diagnosing you, telling what's wrong. There were a lot of doctors who thought I was making it up. I was actually diagnosed, I think when I was 11 years old, by a doctor down at Johns Hopkins. It was relieving, you know, because it's like, okay, we now know what's going on. Your body is held together by connective tissue. So between every cell, between all your organs and ligaments and all that stuff, it's connective tissue. And with Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, your connective tissue is deficient. And it's deficient in something called collagen. It's the glue that holds your body together. So instead of being like a really tight basket weave, it's really loose. Imagine how a rubber band stretches out and then comes right back. Except in my body, it stretches out and stays there. I'd had countless doctors tell me, you shouldn't be playing sports because you might not be able to walk when you're 35. I had no idea that I was ever gonna play lacrosse again. And then to be able to play 2 sports, knowing my pre-existing condition, it was like a dream. Growing up, my parents were always so supportive, not saying, okay, you have this, so you're not gonna be able to play that sport or do this. They were very supportive. If I wanted to do something, we would find a way to do it. My parents and I came up and we took a tour around the campus. Every time we would pass by someone and they would smile and say hi, and it was just such a welcoming environment that I just knew it was a place that I really wanted to be at. It was a perfect fit. Eastern's always been such a welcoming place, whether it's the student athletes or the students or the teachers or the coaches. They're just so welcoming and supportive, and going through all this to be at a point where I probably can't play sports ever in my life. Most recently I was talking to Coach Cameron, and she told me, she's like, whatever happens, you're still a part of this team and you're still a part of our family. To be involved in such a welcoming program and a welcoming school, and just to have everybody support you, I mean, it makes me speechless. JP, our trainer, he was always trying to find ways to keep me doing what I love to do. And whether it was literally taping my joints together before practices, or icing down after games, or even the next day after games being dead on the practice field, he always was so supportive of helping me find a way to do it. And my biggest thing is I want to play on the field so that people can't see what's wrong. They can't see that, oh my gosh, her knees are dislocating all across the field. My knees would dislocate multiple times a game. My SI joints would slip. Couple lacrosse games, my shoulders and elbows would go. One of the biggest problems is that chronic pain all the time. And so after the games, I would lay in bed and just not move. It's worth it, you know? To be able to go out and do what you love for a game, and to not have to, I don't know, not have to think about anything else. It gets to the point where you don't quit, you figure out a way to get through it. Ehlers Danlos Syndrome is an invisible illness. You can't look at me and say, wow, look at that girl, she's sick. Last October, I started experiencing really bad memory issues where in organic chemistry, I would go and weigh an empty beaker and I would get back to my desk and not remember anything, whatever I was doing. It was starting to scare me, but most importantly, it was starting to affect my grades. I had this really bad headache in the back of my head that I couldn't make it go away with Tylenol, Motrin, nothing would touch it. And of course with EDS, you say go to the doctor, and you have doctors who don't know about EDS. We went to the ER. 8 hours later, they had done a CT scan and ruled out tumors and bleeds and all those big scary things they told me. And they got to the point where they just couldn't figure it out. They had MRIs done, they had a whole bunch of different things, and they couldn't figure out what it was. With EDS, your joints are really unstable because your tendons are not able to hold everything together. And so what happens is in my neck, my vertebrae move around, and I was diagnosed with low-lying cerebellar tonsils, which is where the back of your brain actually starts to fall through the foramen magnum, which is the hole in the bottom of your skull. So it starts to peek through there, and it puts pressure on your vertebrae and your brainstem and all that good stuff, and it actually blocks the cerebrospinal fluid that's around your brain. It's gotten to the point where I'm going to have surgery for it, and so they're going to have to cut part of my skull and fuse part of my neck, and actually they're going to reseat my whole head onto my spine. My parents and I made the decision that I was not going to come back to school in the spring. I wasn't going to be able to play lacrosse, which was devastating to hear. Everything going on right now, the girls have told me they're like, we're a team on and off the field, and to have people who are so supportive of you, it's amazing. I'm actually very lucky to be able to play sports with EDS. You know, most trainers, most doctors would say, absolutely not, keep this kid off the field because it's too big of a risk. There's gonna be tons of people who are gonna tell you you can't do it. But I think I know my body and I know my limitations. Maybe I only got 3 seasons out of it, but it's 3 seasons that the doctors told me I would never have been able to do. 3 months I should be in normal condition, they say. The doctors aren't very confident that I'll be able to play just because of the risk. But I personally am going to try to get back to the level that I was at. And when it comes down to it, we're all playing the same sports. We're all doing the things that we love, and we have that common love of playing sports and representing our schools. I would just ask them to help me get through it.
A fellow athlete needs our help.
We're asking the student athletes of the MAC to donate $1 to Victoria Graham, and we want to help her get back and offset some of the cost of her surgery and rehabilitation. I think every student athlete can relate to a time when they were injured, something was preventing them from playing.
We've all worked really hard to be in a position to contribute for our teams, and it would be really tough to lose that.
Yes, I was pulled from the middle of a game this year because of concussion, and it was extremely frustrating.
I can imagine what Victoria's going through being fortunate to never play that. I just want to practice. One of the worst feelings of my life.
Victoria has been overcoming obstacles and persevering, you know, ever since she was diagnosed with this. And I think that if we do this, I think it'll really show that how much we care about each other as student athletes, as competitors.
We want to encourage her, pray for her, and show her that we care.
We pray for you, Victoria, hope you get better soon.
To be a student athlete in the MAC is to represent our school in the classroom and on the field.
That supporting each other and supporting the athletes that we compete with and against brings a sense of belonging and camaraderie and joy to see each other endeavor to be the best they can be in a sport that they love.
We should be grateful for the opportunities we have as student athletes and help support my teammate, my best friend, and my roommate, Victoria Graham.
Whether it's when I walked in and sat down with my teams and told them what was going on, I want to thank them for the support that they've given me. Thank my coaches and my teachers who have been so willing to put up with me and put up with all this. Thank you to all of them who have allowed me to do this. Look up EDS and see what it's all about and see how they can help their students and help their athletes and just help everybody be able to reach their full potential, whether they're dealing with something like I am or dealing with something else or just struggling to make it through. Just help them and take everybody as they can.